Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel L. Connon. Welcome back to Pre-Market Info.
We're back. We're back. The markets are back, and the S&P futures are rallying here this morning. We are up 8 points, but not priced in. Surprise for me. The insurers are trading down. Airlines are down. The home improvement centers are way up. I guess nobody predicted that this hurricane would do damage. PVH is buying WRC, and GM and Ford both beat. Joel, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. Survived the hurricanes out here, or the storms out here. Not too much damage, even though DTE still managed to lose power for a couple 100,000 people. But just to make a comment, I mean, you said it wasn't priced in. I mean, there's a lot of times where there's follow through on the open from these kind of events, and then the open could be, the top or bottom in some of these stocks. I mean, some of these stocks are up, like Home Depot and Lowe's are up, for example, but I mean, they're not up on a ton of volume.
Yeah, well, that's something to think about, too. Like, we were speculating on the pre-market on our hurricane special yesterday that, yes, these stocks will probably be stronger, but I am shocked at the strength I'm seeing in the pre-market and Lowe's, because I would have figured that a lot of people would have thought, well, the home builders, there's obviously going to be damaged, so those things are going to do well. Lowe's is trading up like 6% here in the pre-market. It's at 32.95, which is dangerously close to its 52-week high at 33.29. Could this be one of those setups where they open at the highs and then fade off?
Boy, I'll tell you, just based on the volume, there's just not a lot
6,200
there,
shares, yeah, so it's hard to...
And we've talked about, traders marking up stocks with low volume. The recent high of the move has been 33.29. In the pre-market, we hit 33.35. I mean, just keep an eye on that level. I mean, that's the only thing you can do is use your support and resistance levels, as well as that quick 5-minute opening range to determine. But I'd be very surprised if these stocks just opened up and kept on going higher. And also Home Depot up here on 23,000 measly shares, hit a high of 62.83 in the pre-market. For an all-time high in that stock, you're looking pretty close to, you're looking at it right now, 63.20 was a high in that stock. Also, just one last note, people that are playing these kind of stocks off the open, a lot of times if it opens up, rallies 20, 30 cents, and then comes back down through the open, that might be a key to look at the short side.
That's a good point. Your generator makers, GNRC, had a 4-day run going into the hurricane, so I was like, well, maybe it is priced in. Apparently not. Stock is trading now 31.16 in the pre-market. Only 8,900 shares, though, but wow, this stock is just off to the races.
Yeah, it's really revving up here in the pre-market. You knew that
one. You couldn't
one
resist that one.
Okay, you've gotten some prints here at 31.20. That's a new all-time high for the stock. It doesn't, from what my charts are saying, hasn't been around all that long. Keep a high in at 31.20. Traded 10,000 shares in the pre-market, but this is not a heavily traded stock either. It traded 700,000 on Friday, but boy, I tell you, if I had bought this stock at $23 before the gap up here on September 28th, I'd be looking to sell this open.
A lot of your airlines are trading down. Delta slightly down here in the pre-market, closed at 964. Again, it sold off into this, and now you're getting follow through again here after the hurricane. I guess they just didn't expect that many cancellations. $9.26 on only 4,500 shares again. I'm looking at this 9 area where it seems to be heading. You got some pretty good support down there.
Yeah, my sister's still stranded in Arizona. The flight cancels continues
Really?
on. So yeah, they're having problems getting those airports open, getting people moved around. As we spoke about yesterday, that's just missed out revenue. I mean, people are canceling trips.
Yeah.
They took time off to go on the trips. They're not going to be able to reschedule those. But looking at the pre-market in Delta, I mean, how many airlines do we have now? We have just a couple.
Yeah,
right?
well, there's LCC we can look at. It's trading just slightly down. UAL's another one. It's had 300 shares trade at 19, so it's down as well. You can talk about Southwest, but they always seem to buck the trend, but it's down 6 cents LUV. So there's a few of them there. UAL is another interesting one there, though, Joel. I still like that 18 on the chart. If the stock falls another point from here, you do have some support down there.
Yeah, 19 seems to be pretty good support.
I think
too.
19's gone.
Yeah.
I think it's just too high.
Well, it's true. Yeah, 19 is trading. That's right now where it's trading in the pre-market. So it's not gone yet.
I think it's gone. I think it opens well below 19. I'd take you a bet on that one. But I think we could see 18 in this one today. Hard to say, though. All of your insurance companies, they're all trading down to. I mean, anybody that took this stuff home thinking the hurricane was going to do some significant damage is making a lot of money, other than if you were short the overall market because the market's going up. But if you're just short of the insurers, you're short of the airlines, you bought the home retail improvement centers, you bought the generator makers, you're actually up a lot in the pre-market here, which is somewhat, it's expected, but somewhat surprising because I would have thought there would be more people in those trades. ALL trading down here another 50 cents. Travelers TRV trading down $1.50 at 70. What's your take on these?
ALL is trading down in the pre-market here. Boy, someone anticipated it. Look at that. That stock hit a recent high of 42.81 and then just been on the skids.
Since the hurricane's been coming, yeah.
Yep. In the pre-market, got one straight print here, Dennis, at 39.50. I'm not sure if it's all systems go there over there for you, but I don't know. I have 100 shares trading at 39.50.
I just look at Travelers though. It's traded it's only traded 300 shares, but it is trading down $1.50 at 70. Offered at 70.64. So you're right. All of these trades are on very light volume so far, so it's hard to say whether they're going to get a significant follow through when the market actually opens, because that's when the volume's really going to rev up. Obviously at 9:30 when all these things reopen. AIG trading down too. It's got 8,300 shares and it's down 50 cents, 34 and a quarter. So that's a little more significant. And we were talking about if AIG broke below this quadruple bottom that it had in the 34.50 area. It does appear to be doing that today. So now I would get nervous if I was long. You had this move down. You had this consolidation for 4 days. You're starting to get a move down here again. So it gets a little bit more sketchy for you short-term traders.
Yeah, coming back up, that 34.60 will be some good resistance, and if in fact it can break above there, we should head back to the $35 level. But yeah, that's a nice bottom there, 34.60. You don't see that too often in a stock like this. Below that, I mean, you have a minor stopping point here around 33.48, which was the low back on October 3rd. But boy, they'd have to get it down another 75 cents to get it down there, but 33.48 looks like the next support level in AIG.
Some of these reinsurers, they're not trading in the pre-market yet, but if you look like stocks like RE, PRE, AHL, and ENH, all of those stocks are actually none of them have traded, but I wouldn't be surprised if you did see some weakness in these stocks today as well.
Actually, someone got a print in. Oh no, that was back on the 26th.
Yeah, there's been no trades on any of these this morning.
Yeah. Well, these things are thin. I mean, you just got to look for that RE. It is a volatile stock, but you have two lows in the 112 quadrant here: 112.09, 112.50. So I look for that as support.
I think you got to go a lot lower than that on these things.
You think
I think
really? Okay.
Yeah. If you got AIG, the big one's trading down, I think this thing could see 110 today. This RE. I'm looking at the lows there. If you look back from 3 or 4 days ago at 110.42, 110.69, I think that's where you might be a little bit better off. I mean, if these things start to sell off, they're thin, Joel. These are really thin stocks. These things can fall 5 or 7% if they start to sell off. But who knows? I mean, these were strong going into the hurricane. I don't know why they were so strong going into the hurricane. Nobody anticipated it or not. So it'll be interesting to see how weak they can get. But if they start rolling over, these things really can move.
Okay, well then there's support. There's major support at 106.35.
Oh, you're getting a little crazy now.
106. Well, you get I mean,
$100, good support down there.
When Dennis finally gets bearish on something, I mean, you really got to take note of it.
I don't know how bearish. I'm just saying these things start to roll over. It's all going to be about the open today. Looking how these things open, because in the pre-market you can say, stocks like AIG are down 50 cents. But like you were saying, Joel, it's on very light volume. Sometimes sometimes people are just pressing their positions,
Exactly.
trying to
That's
move
what
the
I think.
yeah,
Yep.
trying to move the prices to where they want the stocks to open, and hoping more people will start to trade the stocks down there if they make them weaker, or in the case of Home Depot and Lowe's, if they make them stronger. So you got to look at when the real volume comes in after 9:30, what these things do. And like you were saying, if they open near the highs and they start to, and it goes up 10 or 20 cents, then comes back down and starts cutting through there, I'd get real nervous if I was long like a Home Depot's or Lowe's. And the same would go for the opposite on the insurance companies. They all open near the lows, maybe sell off 10, 15 more cents, but then start to come back up and take out that opening price. That might be an indicator that you could actually buy them.
I
So
mean, also, is like also the side GNRC and the Home Depot and the Lowe's. So okay, so you got this temporary boost from the hurricane. It's going to show up, and but it's not. Is this sustainable? Is there going to be multiple hurricanes coming? Are there going to be multiple national disasters coming? I just think that it's a good opportunity here to trim a position. I mean, what if you have a 10,000 share long position in this Generac Holdings?
you're a genius.
I mean, yeah, you're a genius, but it's going to try and sell 10,000 at the market in this thing. It'll be $23. I mean, they're thin issues, so we'll see what happens. As at other times, as we stress, the openings are always great indications.
Yeah, use the opening as your indication when we do get to these stocks. Let's move away from the hurricane for a bit because
Okay.
there is some other news out there. Ford reported earnings yesterday. They beat 40 cents against estimates of 30 cents. And GM also reported, and they beat as well. They beat this morning 85 cents against 60 cents. Both of those stocks up significantly in the pre-market.
Yeah, Ford hit 1094 in the pre-market. You have to go back quite a ways to find resistance near that level. You had a high at 1088 in May of this year. But how many times you see in this Ford or GM, when they have, especially the Ford, has a big open like this and then just has really a hard time holding it.
That can happen too. I'd love to see it start getting above that 1088, even take out the 11 handle, and then maybe you can start thinking about long positions. I mean, these stocks have had a pretty good couple of months.
Yeah,
They've been
yeah.
in a little bit of an uptrend the last couple of months. I mean, they've been in a downtrend for years, but short term, besides GM, which actually started to fall off just the last few trading sessions, they have had a little bit of strength here over the course of the last couple of months, so maybe you can continue to get some follow through. But I get what you're saying, Joe. The last couple times they've reported, they've been up in the pre-market. Some of them have opened higher and then they turn around and go lower. I don't know if I see that today. These were pretty good beats. 40 cents, 30 cents, 85 against 60. Like those are pretty significantly better numbers. So it will be interesting again to see where these things open at 9:30.
24.45 marks your high in the pre-market, in General Motors once again on a 20,000 shares have traded. You did bust through a double top here at 24.27. So I'd be use that as a bogey if you're trying to stay long this thing off the open. It gets below there. It could start to dip under 24 into yesterday's range. Going on the upside, this 24 to 25 handle is pretty thinly traded. You had a high at 24.85 on October 22nd. So that could be the next stopping point for Generous Motors if you're long today.
Philip Van Heusen, which is symbol PVH, is buying WRC, which is Warnaco Group, for it works out to about 68.5 a share, but it's a cash and stock deal. 51.75 cash and 0.1822 shares of PVH. So both of these stocks are actually trading up significantly. Look at the Philip Van Heusen, man. It just traded and ticked $100 after closing 91.50. So here's one of those situations again where both the acquirer and the acquiree are rallying on this merger.
Wow.
It's crazy. Did PVH get taken over too? Did they just take each other over? Like up, almost 9% here on the Philip Van Heusen. It's the acquirer. It's the one paying the premium. So are the synergies that good that both of these stocks rally that much? You're flabbergasted.
I'm flabbergasted. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of button-down shirts there for Villa Van Heusen. That $100 print there. I don't know. Someone obviously is short, or maybe had had an itchy finger or something, I'd keep an eye on that $100 mark where 5,500 shares have traded below 100. Get the heck out of the way. I don't know where this thing's going. Had a high on in this month though at 99.05, so that would be another reference point. But below that, I mean, you got to get the heck out of the way.
Obviously, WRC is just going to track the PVH now, so the risk arbitrage players come in there, and the ratio again, so 51.75 in cash and 0.1822 shares of PVH. So if you're trading WRC, that's where it will head today. Let's talk about Apple. Apple is not participating in the rally this morning. It's down another $7 here at 597.60. Market's up 8 points. Apple not participating.
I didn't see any news associated
No.
with that. Just a good old
Follow
fashioned.
through.
Yeah, I mean, earnings disappointment last week. It kind of hung in there. Now you're under that crucial $600 level. I don't see any support in this stock, or I do see minor support at Friday's low of 591. For you real bearish traders out there, the Friday pre-market low, right when that stock opened after the earnings on Thursday, was 585.10. That's the lowest number I have on my levels, so not sure if it can go much lower than that.
GOOG trading here in the pre-market just on 4,800 shares. It's up 3 points. But just want to highlight, look at this area, Joel, this whole 670 area. Been kind of like a brick wall or just like a nice floor there. But I sometimes get concerned because you have the big down move, you have usually 5-6 days of consolidation, and then often you will see a follow-through move, but not in the pre-market so far.
I think traders, investors are taking advantage of that basically gift 80-point drop to, bring some shorts in and start to accumulate a long position if you're really, really bullish. The low of the move right now has been 669.70. We're decent ways away from that. Keep an eye on that level. If that's taken out, boom, you'll be at 660 in a heartbeat in this thing.
Disney is buying Lucasfilms, and we're going to get another 3 Star Wars movies. I'm excited.
Yeah, the old Delta Force tractor beam guy. You must be happy about that.
Yeah.
I didn't like the first 3, so maybe they can come out with something decent on this one.
Well, there's supposed to be another one coming. I guess they're saying 2015. They're shooting for Star Wars 7. But yeah, Disney, so big acquisition for them. Just paid $4 billion for Lucasfilms. Stock trading a lot higher here in the pre-market, 51.40. So getting a nice lift on this acquisition. If you are trading it, there's not a heck of a lot really in here until you get up above 52.
I do see a high though here back on the 22nd of this month at 52.05. You haven't been able to reach that yet in the pre-market. Once again, not much volume associated with these moves, so keep an eye. Major resistance. It actually did hit 52 in the pre-market, so that's a pretty gift move there for the House and Mouse, up $1.32 on less than 5,000 shares.
Well, let's just talk about the overall market here once again, because I think a lot of people are surprised. We did bottom, obviously, on those couple of trading days that we were closed. The S&P E-minis were trading in the overnight session. We got as low as, where are we down at, 1393?
That's correct.
Yeah, so we trade as low as 1393, and we are catching a lot of people that were trying to short it right into the old support area, which we had drawn on there. If you were just buying, and not worrying about the hurricane, just buying down there, you're now up over 20 points because we're trading 14.75. Lots of people shocked here that the market's trading this much higher, considering the damage that was done by Hurricane Sandy.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the stocks, I mean, some stocks up modestly, but, I'm not sure if there's enough here to warrant this 7-point up move. You did have a couple important resistance levels to take a look at. Friday's high was 14.12 1/4. It also bumped up that against that level Tuesday when the market was trading. Thursday's high, 14.1675. We did get above that in the pre-market by $1.50. So I'd keep it. I think it's going to be major resistance there. Could hit those levels once again in the pre-market and then do some backing and filling. 14.0750 was Friday's close. Should be good support.
That's our show for today. Good luck with your trading session, and we'll be back with you guys tomorrow.